Hello dear rimworld players. Previously, Alice has survived a month without the cannibal trait and her mind was about to break apart. Now, we are going to continue to watch her story in the ice sheet where no other being except Alice lives. If you didn't watch the first episode and want to check it out, you can click at the link in the description or the card that will appear above. At the first day of fall, she urgently needed to build a stove to decrease the amount of raw food she used every day. She wasn't a great cook, so Alice would still be under the risk of getting food poisoning. However, the most important thing now was rationing. Unfortunately, during her mining expedition, she couldn't take it anymore. Eating people, it was too much for her, and fell down into a deep coma. At this moment, as the player, I didn't know what to do until I realized something. Some days ago, a refugee quest has been appeared. The quest still had more than a day to accept. Alice was extremely lucky. Whenever I spotted there were some visitors moving into the ice sheet, I accepted the quest. Fitzgerald thought this community needed a name, even though they didn't have the supplies to build a civilization. So he asked himself what could be a better name than the North.
The King of the North!
Yeah, Fitzgerald quickly traded with the travelers and bought 5 packaged survival meals from them. Now, they were 2 people and those meals were a must to have. Next thing he did was carrying Alice to safety and feeding her to stop her starvation. Now, it was time to continue the work Alice started. Days were passing and Fitz were gathering a lot of steel, which was going to be more than enough to build the stove. Now with the stove ready, Fitz was able to cook. However, there were no raw meat left. On the 5th day, Alice woke up from her 4 days coma. This unfortunately meant the end of days for Fitzgerald. With all the regret, she captured him and executed. Winter was harsh and it was coming. Fitz was going to be the first meal in the stove he built himself. Now she could peacefully continue her studies at the 6th day of fall. For the next couple of days, she ate everything left from Fitz and her mind was going numb again. These were the footsteps of a mental break and a milestone. She was both the genius and the mad. Now with the technology of hydroponics, she might get rid of the latter. The first of all things, she needed a larger room to distribute the heat coming from the geyser. The construction effort took a lot of time, but it ended at the 12th day of fall. During that period, she found another space refugee waiting to be eaten. All this effort was not in vain, and at the end of the same day, she built her first hydroponics basin. Next day, she realized there was a polar bear inside her territory. This animal was not only a meat source, but also an extremely dangerous hunter that could attack Alice whenever it goes hungry. She must have been the first one to attack. After all the electricity work, now it was time to sow the first plants in the North Pole. Even though the farm was ready, plants were not growing really. The sun lamp, which provides the required light for photosynthesis, was not working efficiently, with only a wind turbine providing electricity. She definitely needed a more powerful electric source and batteries to supply an efficient farm here. But for now, another turbine was the only thing she could build. Now, the sun lamp was working, but heat was insufficient. With the heating and the new turbine, her food was growing in her warm room, while she had a lot of remaining frozen meat from the bear she just hunted. Everything was so smooth. Fall was over, and winter came with a surprise. 3 megasloths have wandered into Alice's territory, and those gentle giants were going to feed her stomach. Even though all these efforts was just to kill a single megasloth, it was going to feed her for a lot of days. Next days of the winter passed without any incident. Her stomach was full and rice plants were surprisingly growing fast. There were a lot of ship parts lying around the ice hearth, and she turned them into another wind turbine to ensure the safety of the plants. When growing crops proved to be useful, it was time to build more basins and research the batteries, since she didn't have a continuous supply of electricity. 7th of winter was going on with the researching. Then she realized another megasloth wandered in. It was time to feast. Even though she was waiting winter to be calm and hungry, it was surprisingly eventful. Next day, a raid was incoming. Maybe those raiders were the hungry ones. She moved the dead body to somewhere open. Right now, Alice had a lot of food, but if she got hungry again, there were no other option. At the day 10, she completed the research for batteries. Three turbines was not enough to fill a single battery, and even a completely full battery wasn't enough to supply the sun lamp for a whole day. Failure of electricity devastated the crops, and her first harvest was in vain. She needed to find a better source of electricity or continue eating meat for whole life mindlessly. For the next couple of days, she manually closed sun lamp after a certain threshold and ensured the heating system stayed operative, so that the crops were going to grow slowly, but they will be protected from getting killed by the merciless cold. At the end of this day, Alice has survived 3 months in the ice sheet now. In the upcoming videos, she will grow a continuously working hydroponics farm and maybe even create surplus enough to feed companions. Therefore, if you liked the video, please consider subscribing to stay tuned. For now, goodbye.